Good try. God bless.
Dongles or tacos?
Story of my life. What an intro. What an intro. As I realized for some reason, Chad was obscured. He's here.
Chad!
We don't need to hide him. We don't need to hide Chad.
Neil.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
We don't need to hide Chad. Hey, internets. It's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, a Kids on Bikes RPG. This is episode 20, Hotter Than a Match Head. Jeremy's convinced that that's an homage to him, Hotter Than a Match Head. I will
Fair.
Very flattered.
neither confirm nor deny. But welcome everybody to our Kids on Bikes game. We are going to get into the game here in just a couple of moments, but got a couple announcements as usual. I'm going to make these quick because we got a little bit of a late start, but no worries. First up, if you look up above Tamiko over there in the middle, you will see that there is a lonely domain pop sitting over there, but we have a new subscription, so I'm going to go ahead and add another one there. Domain pops are the domain dice for this game. They are a way that you, the viewers, can have an impact on our games simply by subscribing, resubscribing, gifting subs, cheering 500 bits, tipping $5. All of those things will earn domain pops that can be used by the players as adversity tokens, which give them +1 to rolls, or they can use those in groups of 5 to roll on the D100 mystery grab bag table, which happened right near the end of our last session and actually caused the cliffhanger, which was a pretty violent helicopter crash. So that's how they can use those. You can, of course, type !schedule to see what kind of games we got coming up. Our schedule start. We've had a very busy summer, so some of the games have not been played for a little while. But next Monday will be a return to our Scribes and Scrolls. We've been off for a few weeks on that one. We're coming back with session, I believe, 84 in that game. It's a Pathfinder 2nd edition game. Every other Tuesday, you can catch us with Sky Metal Iron Gods. I have to announce that there is a change. Spoiler alert, cover your ears if you don't want to know what happened on Monday. Our Tuesday session was less than an hour long because we TPK'd.
What?
I started unconscious. I got conscious and then unconscious, and within the first hour, we TPK'd. However,
What are you gonna do?
so the nature of the adventure is such that we were investigating the disappearance of an adventuring party. So a new adventuring party is going to be hired, and there's a good chance we're going to find our bodies. However, there will be another major change not reflected in the schedule, is we are changing that game from Pathfinder 2nd edition to D&D 5th edition. Vi wants to switch that one over to 5e, and so we're going to do that. I believe next Wednesday is our next Lawlerville Call of Cthulhu game. At least that's when it's scheduled for. Lawlerville is part of our Mythos Investigator series that Carrie and I play in, and we have, over the last couple of years, we rotate who is running that game. This time it's our friend Ricky, who is running an original scenario called Lawlerville. And I have a feeling that we are getting close to the end, because let's just say 2 of the players are now controlling monsters. And there's only a couple of us left.
Monsters is a really strong word. I prefer misunderstood.
This is Call of Cthulhu. They are 100. They're not just monsters. They are nightmarish monsters. They
They're
are
women in
aberrations.
power. They're women in STEM.
There were STEM, all right. They're brain stems. Pretty sure I saw a few of those lying around. It was pretty violent and grotesque. So I think you get a hint as to who one of the monsters might be. So that takes us through Wednesdays. Of course, Thursday nights you can catch us here for Kids on Bikes, our Welcome to Paradise, Michigan game. And that takes place in 1980 something. And then we just locked in September 22nd for over on Nerdarchy for our Old Guard. Actually, tomorrow I will be over on Erasmus Expeditions for technically our first, but technically our second session. We had sort of a setup session of Fiasco. Carrie and I will both be over there. And Chad. So many games. We have so many people that are in different games that are in different stuff.
The Venn diagram is just a
Yep.
circle.
It's fine. Yeah, it's all a multiverse now, so we all have to blend together.
And then I think in like a week or so on a Sunday, back on Erasmus Expeditions with some of the same people for a household game, which household is a system of littles. We play Little Tiny People. I missed the first session of that, but so this will be my first time. But as you can tell, we have a very busy gaming schedule. And somehow still find the time to play Baldur's Gate 3 for 136 hours in the last month. The last announcement that I want to make is probably the biggest announcement that I'm going to make. I'm going to turn on a little graphic here so I can share this with you all. We are very excited to announce Todd Stashwick's Nerd Circus presents Legends of Eleanor, The Light of the Child, a Dungeons & Dragons charity live stream event happening on Saturday, September 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on twitch.tv/mini-terrain domain. The one and only Todd Stashwick will be DMing an original game featuring the players of Matthew Lillard, Mika Burton, Tawny Newsom, Jack Quaid, and possibly you. There are 2 seats open for this game. Jeremy has just dropped a link in the chat that will take you to an auction. Now, I will tell you right now, this is a charity and this will not be cheap. The seats are currently up to $2,250 each. All of this money is, of course, going to benefit the Pavlov Foundation, which is a charity organization dedicated to fighting childhood cancer. You can continue to follow myself, Todd Stashwick, and others on various social media, primarily on Twitter and Instagram, to stay up to date on information we have about this. But I can tell you there will be giveaways. There will be special donation level incentives for signed merchandise from Todd Stashwick's Nerd Circus. Occasionally, you've seen me on stream here use a 3D printed, hand painted, custom skull dice tower that I made. There's only 2 of them in existence of the ones that I made. One of which Todd Stashwick commissioned and uses at his own table, and this one, which Todd Stashwick is now in possession of. The reason for that is Todd and all of the players are going to autograph that dice tower, and it could be yours at a donation level incentive before or during the game. So be sure to tune in and check that out. We hope to see you there. If you haven't already followed the channel, please do so you can be notified when we go live. I hope everybody heard that. Players, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is the stream up?
Stream is good.
Okay.
Stream is good.
As soon as I started my announcement, I got a internet connection warning, and then I lost the stream feed.
It's a little stuttery. We're good. The graphic was up. We can hear on the stream.
Perfect. I forgot to reset the router, which I need to remember to do because we're doing a huge stream at the end of the month. Which I should say, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Which is why we're doing that on the 30th, which is the last day of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Please do also follow Pablo Foundation. Check them out. They do some amazing things. We'll have more information about them as we get closer. All right. I've rambled on enough. The last thing I want to tell you is just to remind you that we, the players, have safety tools in place. We have had a session 0, established our lines and veils, and our safety tools are used to protect ourselves at the table when situations get tough, when things possibly come up that maybe we weren't expecting, or whatever the case may be. We have those tools in place and are in communication with one another. But please know that this stream is adults playing a game that can feature adult language, even though we're playing teenagers and kids. Feature adult language and some intense situations. If that's not for you, please find another stream to watch. We will not be offended. And finally, I just want to let you know and remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. It's okay to struggle, but you do not have to struggle alone. At any time, you can come into our chat and you can type !help. And when you do so, a couple URLs will pop up on screen, or they will show up along the bottom of the stream here. They are findahelpline.com, and or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to check out those sites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I would like to welcome you to Paradise, Michigan in 1980-something. As we look back on what has happened recently, a whole lot of weird stuff has happened. And most recently, the last few days, our group of new summer friends have been just trying to stay cool. Paradise, Michigan is in the midst of an intense heat wave. Temperatures have consistently been over 100 degrees every day. And it's just been miserable. You all have done various things trying to stay cool. Ultimately discovering that your friend Oak at his grandparents' house, they have air conditioning. So you were spending a bit of time there. Oak's grandmother even provided everybody with some amazing popsicles and ice cream sandwiches and such. While you were having some conversation and deciding to while away the hot afternoons in the air conditioning, playing some Dungeons and Dragons, you began to hear some peculiar thudding sounds and realized birds were falling out of the sky, crashing all around. You could see them all over outside. Y'all were having none of that, said screw this noise, and went back to playing some well, actually, first off, you did go out to investigate. And Rosie, I believe, picked up one of these birds, which promptly turned itself inside out and melted into goo. Which all of the birds began to melt into goo, and that's where you all said F this noise and went in the house to go ahead and play D&D in the air conditioning, because birds falling out of the sky is an outside people thing. Unfortunately, you heard the unmistakable sound of the air conditioning coming to a halt, as you quickly learn that the power has gone out in all of Paradise. Not only has the power gone out, as you all headed to the beach, you realized that vehicles were stalled along the road. Something has interfered with all mechanical and electrical operations. Being kids, you didn't concern yourself too much with that. You headed to the beach to enjoy the cool, refreshing water as much as you could. There was some very intense heart-to-heart conversations, and Oak has revealed quite a bit of himself to his friends. And that vulnerability was rewarded with hundreds upon thousands of fish rising to the surface of the lake dead. Also a very large alligator-like form that surfaced briefly, then rolled over belly up. You saw another victim of the labs that you now know to be named James, somebody that your rat friend Templeton knows. And then you heard the sounds of a helicopter flying overhead. But when it flew over top of the lighthouse, it began to spin out of control, and it crashed on the beach not more than 150 feet away from you. In fact, as it hit, the rotor blades broke apart, flew just over your head, slicing into a car in the parking lot. And that was where we left off. As we open up on this scene, it's a little bit later. And you see that we can see that there's yellow police tape has been stretched around parts from the parking lot across this area. There's been a small area that's been cordoned off, and all of you kids are in this cordoned off area near the lighthouse. In fact, it's in such a position to allow you to be in the shade that the lighthouse provides, as little relief as that shade may provide. All around you are police officers, members of the sheriff's department. You see Sheriff's Deputy Andy Harwell, who Laz had a rather unpleasant experience with on the first day here. You also see the sheriff and another deputy whose name tag indicates that it is Deputy I can't read my own handwriting. Morton. Deputy Morton. She is the second deputy on the scene. What's interesting is we don't see sheriff's vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances, though we see emergency personnel are continuing to run up to the scene because nothing's working. No vehicles are working. So people have had to run here on foot when it seems now as if most of the town is slowly walking towards the beach now, where this helicopter smolders, fire still looking up from it. You've already seen emergency personnel run up to the wreckage, firefighters in full garb, and they've managed to pull two individuals. It looks like there was a pilot and a co-pilot on this helicopter. They've pulled them out of the wreckage, and you can see once they get clear, both of these individuals appear to be alive and moving. The scene is one of several emergency personnel trying to contain a very violent accident scene. As you are off in this cordoned area, what are all of you doing?
When you say go ahead.
I was just going to say, Laz is trying to put as much distance between him and the deputies as possible. So if there's like a corner that's kind of included in this cordoned off area, that's kind of where he is, kind of sulking.
So we're kind of just like kept out of this area. Like when you say a cordoned off area, like we're not like in, like trapped in an area, are we? Or are we just outside of this police station?
I wouldn't say trapped, but the area you're in is isolated from the rest of the crowd. You have been set aside. In fact, we didn't see this on screen, but you would have been told.
That's what I was asking.
You would have been told to wait here.
I guess Rosie would probably be just kind of trying to see what's going on, sort of, and she'd just be kind of like flipping her bat in the air and catching it, and then like balancing it on her finger. She's kind of bored.
Anyone else?
We really we're really gonna like stick around here?
You have to. They said to wait.
And
What they're gonna do if we don't wait? So Billy is kind of like pacing nervously, like it's a thing of, all right, it's effing hot out here, and the cool water is right there, but at the same time, we've had so much issue with authority that he definitely is leaning towards Laz of like, we could just get our shit and go. And in all of the hullabaloo, would they really notice us leaving?
And yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Oak is also kind of concerned too, because Jake, you said in the last game that there was a space where we were swimming and like that was okay, right? But everything else around us, all the fish were dying. Like there was James's body out there in the water somewhere, right? Potentially, like so there's a part of Oak that doesn't want to leave here because there's something that tells him that I want to try something. But how do I get back to the lighthouse to do the thing that I think that will work?
Oh,
We're
you're
right by the lighthouse.
You are at the base of the lighthouse.
We're at the base of the lighthouse?
Yep.
Okay. So I would say that if we are cordoned off there, I think Oak would look to the rest of them and be like, I know it's a long shot, guys, but I think I got an idea.
Thinking,
yeah.
Well, looking out across the water, like I don't know if it'll work. But like, remember when we were in the little town? Right, when we were small. And we used the lighthouse in the miniature on Templeton, right? And then somehow Templeton ended up here. I don't know how, but he ended up here. So what if we try and use the lighthouse on James?
Rosie would look out into the water where James was floating. Is he still floating out there?
Yes.
I kind of like, Rosie would like shake her head, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's a good idea. I kind of like just nod, and I'm like, I just don't think it'll turn out like you think it will.
While all of this is happening, Coop is trying to reach out to touch James's mind telepathically.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Interesting.
Good pull, Tamiko.
So he's paying attention to very little as to what's going on. He's just looking out at the water, and he's just projecting and thinking like, hello, James?
What is Coop's?
I know your name now.
What is Coop's grit check?
Oh.
Grit die.
Oh, of course you make it grit. D6. Last time it was charm. That's all I'm saying.
We want to keep it consistent here at Mini Terrain Domain.
Have you tried talking to somebody telepathically before?
James.
Yeah. James talked to Coop telepathically.
James,
Oh yeah, I
Lighthouse.
totally forgot about that. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the one that's reading emotions of another person. Okay, so your charm, I'm assuming, is a D20.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very high DC to even be able to... We don't even know what the result's going to be. Well, you don't. But the DC is very high. I would like you to roll a charm check.
Is it 17 plus 1? Is it 18 higher than an 18?
You do have 38 domain pops.
Dude, make it a 20. Give it 3 and make it a 20.
Give it 3 and make it a 20.
It'd be 2. You said you had
2.
plus 1.
Oh, 18.
You were 18.
Sorry, I forgot the plus
So you're going to
one. My
spend
bad.
2 of those tasty domain pops. A refreshing treat in this hot air. Now, you hit the DC exactly.
Oh, thank you, Carrie.
Yes, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
I
20's a
now
magic
need you
number,
to
baby.
roll.
Let's go.
I now need you to roll a D100.
$49.
All right, I'm going to roll mine. You have got to be kidding me.
You rolled a 49, didn't you?
I rolled a freaking 49.
Oh!
What does that? It works. It has
What
to.
So-
does
work.
this mean?
It's
You like that
automatic.
crit?
So
That is a
a
super
crit.
basically, this is of course my D100 system to determine how likely something is to happen, combined with having hit the DC. Now you hit it exactly, which would technically mean under the guides for failure and success you succeed but just barely. However, for a DC 20, a task at which only the most incredible could even possibly succeed, but if they succeed, it will be one of the most impressive things a character has ever done. This is a nearly guaranteed failure.
Dude, cool.
You hit the DC exactly,
moment.
and you hit the D100 exactly. I would like to know,
Coop is
What?
now telepathic.
you are saying as you reach out to James.
James, I know your name now. It's Coop from the beach from before, like 100 years ago. Are you dead? Are you okay? We have Templeton with us. Please don't be dead.
Oh. Oh no.
You don't hear anything
Oh.
at first.
Oh. Oh.
And then you hear in your mind a sound that can best be described as when you pick up the phone and there's no dial tone. And you can sense that there's another presence on the other end. It's the 1980s. A party line is something that was common, where phone lines were shared or sometimes the wires got crossed and you just accidentally had a party line. You're reaching out to James. You feel in your mind this presence.
James, answer me.
Did you
wait,
say
hello?
Templeton is with you?
Oh no. Oh, I don't like it.
Nope. I said Terrence. Terrence is with us. Templeton here. I've got to go. And
I heard-
and I hang up.
You hear, unfortunately, you've opened a mind connection that you can't just hang up.
Telepathic now.
Damn.
Click. There's interference.
You hear another voice. This one, soft, feminine.
Oh.
Sounds a little bit frightened. Is Templeton there? And James? I heard you say James.
Who's
Templeton.
this?
Pay no attention to her. Algernon. How did you get here? Who is this?
no. Coop. Can I ask a question real quick? What is Coop's body doing?
I was just about to say,
what is happening?
You all see Coop staring out at James's body. Coop just seems to be reflecting, looking reflectively out at the water. There's nothing in Coop's body language to suggest that there's an intense mental party line happening.
I don't know. I might disagree with that. I think if someone is really trying to open a mental connection, they've probably got the constipation face.
Well, you would think that, but
Looks
with Coop hitting it exactly and hitting the percentile exactly, there was zero effort extended on Coop's part. Coop basically said, I want to telepathically communicate, and did.
And Rosie's still kind of trying to delicately convince Oak that James is dead, so this is what's going on.
So you're hearing these voices.
Ooh. And I recognize Algernon. I do not recognize the lady.
Nope.
And there's no James.
Is James all right? And Templeton?
I don't know. No Templeton here. It's Terrence.
Where are you? They are of none of your concern. I've been watching over them, keeping them safe. Whatever you do, I don't know who you are. Don't trust Algernon.
I got that.
Can do be.
Where are you? Who are you?
No one that you need to worry yourself about. And I need to make a couple dice rolls real quick. Okay, that's really good.
Well, Jake's making a couple dice rolls real quick. Feel free to... Okay. Shit.
No, well, sorry, it's not that big of a delay.
I got it in the chamber.
So, as you hear Algernon's voice saying, "It's no one for you to be worried about," what you hear is, "It's no one for you to be worried about." Stop it! How are you? And Algernon's voice fades, and you hear, "I've pushed Algernon out. It's just you and I. Is James all right? Is Templeton okay?"
Templeton's okay. He's with us, but James looks hurt, and I can't talk to him. He's not talking.
Where and when are you?
We're at the poor naive Coop. I'm going for it. We're at the lighthouse, and it's 1980 something.
Waves crash.
What? You're at the lighthouse. Which lighthouse?
What do you mean, which lighthouse?
Are you on the
big
island?
honking lighthouse.
Are you on the island?
No.
Oh, good.
No, I'm on the beach.
Good.
Paradise.
That's better. My name is Persephone.
James is out in the water.
My name is Persephone, and I'm going to do what I can to keep Algernon away. You must know, Algernon cannot, under any circumstances, be trusted.
No, he's really mean. We already know. Templeton told us.
Where is Templeton? Is he safe?
Templeton at some point would have gone back to Laz, so I look over at Laz's shoulder just to see real quick. I'm like, he's with Laz. That's his best friend.
Make a I would like you to make a brains check for me, please.
Damn it. All right. Brains is a D8. That's not so bad.
Real quick, Jeremy dropping the Secret of Nim reference in the chat.
6.
Come on. Wow.
6.
Deep
Okay, you hit the DC exactly.
Oh God.
As you glance
Jesus.
over at Laz.
Miko's using up all the luck.
Right? As you glance over at Laz, and you look at Templeton and you see him and you say he's all right. You see Templeton is sitting on Laz's shoulder, kind of sitting up, and his front paws are kind of ringing, and Templeton is staring at you unblinkingly.
Hey, Tempe. What's up?
What? How long has Templeton been with you?
I don't know. A few days, a week. I think it's been a week. Give or take.
Time is weird here.
Does he stay with you? Do you keep him in your home?
No, he stays with Laz. Laz is his best friend.
There's more of you. How many of you are there?
It's a lot of questions. I'm so sorry, y'all. There's 6 of us all together.
If it is possible, whenever you sleep, Templeton should not be allowed to sleep with anybody alone.
Really? Why, will he poop in their ear?
That's a fate worse than death.
That is a very unusual question, and I don't know how to answer it.
No.
Do you not understand Templeton's nature?
He's an electric brat, right? Like
Pikachu.
he controls electric things. And he can talk.
Roll me a charm check real quick.
I have had a suspicion that I did not share with anybody, and I think it's about to be confirmed.
Ear. This is where it all goes to shit. 4.
Oh. You were due for 1.
Wherever possible,
Yeah.
there should be 2 or more people wherever Templeton is at all times.
Okay, so
I know now. Your mind is familiar to me. If possible, I will reach out again as soon as I can.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
unable
be here.
to hold this connection.
I'm Coop.
As you say, I'm Coop, there's no response. And you feel whatever that sound is, like that party line sound, you hear the mental equivalent of sort of a clicking and a dial tone. You know now that you've lost whatever this mental connection is. And it's like, for you, the sound of the waves and the sound of the crowd gathering sort of rushes in. They've all faded to the background. Because you rolled a 4 on the charm check, anybody nearby Coop would see Coop suddenly stagger and fall against the side of the lighthouse and probably plop down on his butt in the sand.
Oh.
Looking like he just about fainted.
Coop, are you okay? And Rosie would like rush over.
I tried to reach out to James with my mind. like I did at the lighthouse before.
And
He didn't answer. Somebody else answered. Persephone? And I'm looking at Templeton while I'm talking, to see if Templeton's reacting.
As you kind of look up at Templeton, you see Templeton sitting on Laz's shoulder, just kind of doing the little rat thing, and as soon as you say Persephone, you see Templeton kind of perks up.
oh,
I'm sorry, did you say Persephone?
Yeah, Persephone. I didn't get James, and I'm worried about him, but I got somebody named Persephone. And also Algernon. But he was trying to be mean, and Persephone pushed him away.
Oh, that's good. Persephone is my friend. In the labs, Persephone always kept Algernon away from me when she could.
Well, she wanted to know if you and James were okay. I told her you were okay.
Persephone always tried to keep an eye on all of us. She was the only one that could keep Algernon in line.
She sounds powerful. She must be powerful because she just pushed Algernon off of the call.
Is this another rat, or?
I don't know what Persephone is. I've never actually seen her face to face. I've only ever heard her in my mind. She used to reach out and talk to us in the labs all the time. And sometimes when the scientists were doing experiments on her, we could hear her cries and screams and very bad things in our minds from Persephone. But if you were talking to Persephone, that means she's still safe. She's still there.
there? You mean like in the labs there?
She didn't say where she was. She asked where we were.
I don't know where else she would be. As far as I know, James and I are the only ones that ever got out.
If you got out, maybe she did as well.
You see, when you say that, Templeton kind of sits up and is kind of looking around like he's trying to look through the crowd, like not even sure what he's looking for. I don't know. And then he kind of slumps down a little bit. I wouldn't even know if I saw her.
She has my name, and I think she knows how to contact me, and she said she would later.
Well,
my number's no longer unlisted.
Is it just weird to me, or is nobody freaking out about there being a giant Godzilla floating in the water out there?
Rosie turns sympathetic eyes again to Oak and kind of like shrugs almost.
Yeah, I mean that's weird to me too. That's why I wanted to see what we could do about it. But
what do you want to do in the lighthouse?
Well, I just thought if we got to the lighthouse, I don't even know if it's working because of all this electrical nonsense, whatever's happening with all the cars and all the heat. But if we got to the lighthouse, we get inside, we turn the light on James. It worked for Templeton. I mean, maybe it'll work for James.
Oak, Templeton wasn't dead. Look at him. And Rosie looks out into the water and is like, he's fucking dead.
Okay,
fine. He's not coming back.
No. I get it, okay? I get it. He's dead.
Billy is trying to, like, calm you down to not draw further attention by the crowd that's over there.
But it's not fair, okay? It's not fair that we have an opportunity to possibly save him, and we're not doing nothing about it.
Well, we can't really do it with the crowd over there.
Billy, as you're paying attention to the crowd, sort of trying to keep Oak quiet, not very far from you, maybe 12 feet away, on the crowd side of the where the police tape is, you see quite a bit of crowd of the town has gathered. You see a couple figures that you wouldn't recognize, but you see a tall, older black man, and you see a man who is probably looks to be in his 40s, a little heavy set, wearing a Detroit Tigers baseball cap. And the two of them are standing next to each other and kind of looking, and the man with the baseball cap looks to the other man and says, "It's like I was telling Travis. They got electromagnetic waves that they can shoot out in the air anytime they want. That's how they stopped all the cars, and that's probably how they took down this helicopter. That's why." And he taps his hat, and you can you just see as he taps his hat a little peak of silver from underneath it as a little bit of tinfoil peeks out. "I'm telling you, they ain't gonna get us with electromagnetic waves. We're gonna need to convene and talk to Darla and the others about this." And then the older black man kind of looks at him and says, "This heat wave's been going on about, 4 days? It was about 4 or 5 nights ago. I saw that light streak across the sky, and I told you from over at the starlight, I could feel when that meteorite hit the ground, and I'm telling you, I think it came down close to the old Scheckler barn." And you see the man kind of goes, he looks at Otis, and you see him you see the color drain from his face. No, that's probably just a coincidence, Otis. There ain't no reason to go out by that old barn. And they kind of are moving through the crowd, and you hear them talking, but they get swallowed up by the crowd as they walk away. As a reminder, you also saw the meteorite when you emerged from underground in the labs.
Rosie would just look at Oak and say, "Listen, if you want to go up and try whatever you want to try, go get your heart broken. Be my guest."
He looks to you, Rosie, and I think like that big sibling energy, like talking to the younger sibling energy, kind of comes out, and he like looks at the situation that's in front of them, just the crowd that's now forming, the fish in the water, the serenity that was the moment of them just enjoying the beach, right, is now completely shattered. And this, maybe it's the heat, maybe it's something, whatever it was, but he realizes he's being an ass in that moment. Like, he's really just being like a jerk about the situation. And he's like, you can't fix what you can't control. You can't fix what you can't control. All right. You're right. Okay. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about it. So, we'll move on. It's okay.
Coop puts a hand on Oak's shoulder and says, "Look, he didn't answer me. James didn't answer me, but he also didn't turn inside out, so maybe he's not dead."
Oh my god.
Nope, I don't know if you think that that's like helpful, but
it means that he's maybe he's just mostly dead, not fully dead.
Rosie rolls her eyes and she goes over to the edge of the cordon and she's like, "Can you guys come talk to us or something? We need to get home. The streetlights are on."
Yeah, I'm hot.
As you say that, the streetlights are on.
Is it still in the afternoon? I thought it had been a while.
No, it's middle of the afternoon.
Even if they were, I'm pretty sure like most of the electrical.
Also, the streetlights won't be coming on.
Won't be coming on because of the fucking. Oh no!
But
So
as you
we
do
really
kind
have
of,
no concept of time.
Rosie, as you move over to the edge of the police tape and start saying this, you see over where the sheriff and a couple deputies are talking. You can see that by now the EMTs and firefighters have secured the pilot and the co-pilot on some gurneys, and somebody has brought into the parking lot on the beach a some kind of it actually almost looks like a carriage. But a horse-drawn carriage from somewhere in the town, and they're carefully loading the litters into this to try to get them to somewhere safe where they can deal with them. But as the crowd's sort of parting, so you can see this, you see as the sheriff turns to the EMTs and says, it looks like he's motioning them away. You see somebody walk up behind him, and a man despite the hot weather, wearing a black suit, white shirt, black tie, sunglasses, comes walking up to the sheriff. And I don't remember which of you saw this. It might have been Billy. This is the same man that was in the car talking to the sheriff's deputy, Andy Harwell. And Billy, you seeing this scientist, I think it was you. Yeah. You seeing this man, you recognize him as the scientist that was antagonizing you when you were in the lab. It's about this time that Rosie, a figure steps in front of you, and it's Deputy Harwell. All right. Is there a reason you're hollering so much over here?
Yeah, is there a reason you have us just standing out on this hot beach? Can you just take our statement so we can go home? I'll give it to you for all of us. We saw the helicopter
he's giving you a look, and he's kind of like looking you up and down. He goes, "I'm sorry, I didn't see your badge somewhere. I thought maybe you were a junior deputy or something ordering me around." In case you can't tell, we have a couple people that nearly lost their lives in this crash that were a priority. I am now here to talk to you, and I would like to be able to talk to you and your friends here about what happened without the attitude. You understand, Missy?
Sir, it's very hot, and we're very thirsty. Could somebody bring us some water or juice?
My friend there nearly passed out a couple seconds ago. We
It's
saw
snack
the
time.
helicopter fall down. That's it.
I had no idea that the blue-footed booby was native to this part of Michigan. He says, leaning towards Billy.
He doesn't appear to have heard you. All right, so I'm going to guess by your attitude and your eagerness to talk to me that you're the leader of this little gang.
Sure, fine, whatever. I just
want to know.
Helicopter fall down.
You saw the helicopter fall down. That's what I
Anything
want to talk
else?
to you about. Now that we've got things a little bit under control here, we just want to have a conversation with you. And I want to know from your perspective, since you were the only ones on the beach at this time, I just want to know from your perspective what happened.
So while Rosie's talking to this officer, I want to just be staring daggers at Sharp.
Okay.
Rosie would shrug and just say, I don't know. Sir, I'm not trying to disrespect you. We saw the helicopter go down on the beach. Right over there. I don't know how many more ways I can say it. We saw it fall.
I don't expect...
It was flying low, and maybe some of the falling birds got caught up in its propellers.
I don't expect you to have to write an essay on what happened. Let me ask you a couple questions, and maybe you can have some answers that we need to have filled in.
Okay, shoot.
I understand it's hot. You can see he's wearing the short sleeve tan shirt, and but you know, he's still wearing long sheriff's pants and all that, and you can see the ring of sweat around the neck and the armpits as he sort of takes his hat off and kind of rubs his forehead. We're all hot, all right? His tone, you get the impression from his tone that he is deliberately trying to remain calm talking to you.
Must be tough.
Now,
yeah.
you said that you saw the helicopter crash. You saw it come down. Did you see any other aircraft in the area? Was there another helicopter or airplane? A jet, perhaps?
No.
You didn't hear any sounds of some kind of gunfire or rockets being launched?
No. It's not Nam, man.
I'm just trying to
town.
listen. When a military helicopter goes down in my jurisdiction, I want to make sure we don't have a Red Dawn situation on our hands.
Jesus. No.
And you can see he seems very serious about this.
Dude, we were just trying to enjoy the beach. Like, what
I'm not
part of-
accusing you of anything. If anything,
No, I know, but like Red Dawn?
Pretty
What-
sure the
what?
commies are not going to attack Paradise, Michigan, sir.
yeah. And the Wolverines didn't think they were going to attack their town either, did they? Listen.
No, sir, there were no rocket launches
That's good.
that we are aware of.
Can you please describe to me, right before the crash, what did you see? When did you notice the helicopter, and how did it come down on the beach?
It was like, ooh, and then it was like, ooh, 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 and then it came down. And the helicopter went this way, and the propeller went that way.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So it was flying along, and it just suddenly spun out of control, lost attitude, and crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And the propeller blade flew pretty darn close to our heads.
Yeah, there's somebody with a station wagon over there that's going to have a hell of an insurance statement to make.
Well, you ain't kidding about that. You're lucky if that thing flew over your head. They have a lot more paperwork to do.
Anything else? You want to know what we ate this morning for breakfast?
Mostly popsicles. Be honest, mostly popsicles.
It was mostly
Oh,
popsicles.
I turn to Rosie and go, "Oh, you said breakfast. I'm hungry
Oh.
now."
Coop, get in my backpack. And Rosie would like nudge her backpack over to Coop, and if Coop gets in there, there's like a half a Gatorade.
Yeah.
So does Sharp have any idea that that we're over here, or that I'm looking at him?
So, Billy, you've been watching Sharp talking to the sheriff, and there's he's probably a good 50, 60 feet beyond where Deputy Harwell's talking to you. And so from your perspective, we see Deputy Harwell sort of off to the left of the frame talking to Rosie. You've got eyes on the sheriff and Sharp. And then you see Sharp kind of motions in your general direction. And you see the sheriff turn and look over there and kind of like looking, and then he spots you all. And he kind of turns to Sharp and says something, and the two of them start walking towards your group. All right, listen. It's standard procedure to get some statements. It's not standard to have a military aircraft crash on the beach. We're going to have you stay here for just a few minutes longer while we get things situated and get the crowd control. Then you can go home. I'm going to need each of your names and where you live, so we can be in touch if we need to. Your parents or your grandparents, whoever it may be, your legal guardian. And you see he kind of takes out his pad,
Yes.
like he's going to write, and about that time, the man in the business suit and the sheriff show up, and the sheriff's a man who looks to be in about his 50s. He's got that look of somebody who looks like not that long ago he was in really good shape. Like he still has that look of a little bit of barrel chest, upper body strength, but also looks like somebody who hasn't picked up his weights or gone to the gym in a year or two.
Yes.
As he walks up and just kind of sits. All right, Andy. I think you've interrogated the kids enough. It's a small town. We'll figure out where they're from. We need to talk to them.
Rosie gets a smile on her face. She's like, "Yeah, Andy, you've interrogated the kids enough."
We don't need to frighten these kids. They've been through enough. Got somebody that wants to talk to them. Get a little more information. Andy, why don't you get some of this crowd out of here? I saw Chad and Otis poking around. Lord knows what they're going to get up to. Track them down and make sure they don't go, least of all, talking to any reporters yet.
When Dr. Darksuit heads over, Laz is gonna put Templeton away, in his backpack.
Laz, as you reach for Templeton, you feel as he's already scurried back behind you. All right, kids. My name's Sheriff Pratt. I understand Deputy Harwell is probably asking you. Did he ask you about Red Dawn?
He mentioned it, and then he asked us the same question 4 times.
Listen. He means well. I think he just has an unhealthy obsession with Patrick Swayze.
Rosie would kind of smile and laugh over at Laz and be like, "Don't we all?"
And as he says that, you hear behind him the Dr. Sharp kind of goes, yes, Mr. Mr. Sharp here would like to have a moment to ask you all a couple questions, and then we should be able to let you be on your way. Mr. Sharp.
I don't see any shield on his. I don't see any shield on his attire. Who is he to ask questions here?
You see.
Who are you, FBI? CIA?
He steps forward and he kind of looks at you all and smiles. I'm not with any government agency. You don't have to worry if I'm a Fed or a CIA or anything like that. I own the company that owns that helicopter. And of course, we want to know what happened. We were in town, and we're not expecting that one of our helicopters would crash. And just want to have a moment to see what you all heard and saw, and more concerned about if you saw anything out of the ordinary. Anything that seems unusual about this whole situation.
Laz cannot help but bust out in laughter at this.
Is there something you find funny about this whole situation, son?
Are you fucking serious? Have we seen anything weird? How long have you lived here?
Rosie looks over at Laz with like wide eyes.
I don't actually live.
Like,
I don't actually live here.
Okay, well, wherever you keep your coffin, look, this place is like a central point for like fucked upness. In case you haven't noticed, like the giant fucking Godzilla out in the water there, or all the dead fish, or the dead birds. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's kind of like a long list. Maybe you haven't been keeping very good notes.
Your kids certainly have
you're just kidnapping too many children.
I'm sorry?
That, or you're kidnapping too many children.
Well, Sheriff, the kids in your town certainly seem to have a wild imagination.
Sure.
Rosie's heart is pounding. Like, it's like the jig is up. Like, oh.
You feel like a clench of a hand to your hand, Rosie. Like,
yeah.
Do we gotta run? Do we gotta go right now?
I just squeeze. I just give his hand a squeeze, but I like am very firm. Like, not yet. Kind of. It's the vibe.
Well, it definitely seems you've been whiling away your summer watching a few too many of the Twilight Zone episodes. Godzilla creatures. I see an inordinate amount of dead fish, possibly caused by the shock waves from the helicopter crashing, and I see what looks like it could be probably an oversized carp or something like that. Godzilla, I don't know what you're talking about. That's ridiculous.
Do you want me to show you?
Get fucking huge.
Do you want me to show you how the helicopter went down again, and so that we can go home and get some dinner?
Yeah, Coop, show him how the helicopter went down again.
It was like, and then it was like, and then the helicopter went this way, and the propeller went over that way into the parking lot. I told the other guy that.
Are you going to come back in 20 minutes and ask us again how the helicopter went down? Because he'll do it again.
I'm going to start charging.
You should.
For the performance.
If you're good at something,
all right,
don't
kids.
do it for free.
Sheriff Pratt speaks up. I don't recognize any of you, so I'm going to guess that you're part of the summer kids visiting, what, Twilight Grove, your grandparents, I'm presuming, all of you. This is my town, and it is my job to make sure everybody is safe and try to protect everybody, even the visitors. Mr. Sharp here has some business interests in town, and I was doing him the courtesy of allowing him to speak with you. But in our town, well, the people of Paradise know politeness and know how to respect authority. Now, if you want to continue to show disrespect and attitude, we can continue this conversation at the sheriff's station. I'm sure your grandparents would love to have to come pick you up.
Oh my god. What do you want to know?
I'll finally break contact with Sharp. I had not looked away or blinked the entire time, and I'll turn towards the officer. I mean, you just no disrespect. The last time this gentleman and I had a conversation, it was less than pleasant. So if you felt I offered you any disrespect, I apologize.
Sheriff Pratt, I can assure you that I have never spoken with this child or any of these children in the past. I do not know what this young man is talking about.
I can offer proof if you like.
I think some of us might actually still have some scratches from your gods putting their hands all over us, actually.
Coop starts to cry.
Is it like Cartman kind of like just like
I would like Billy and Laz, I would like you both to roll we're gonna call this a charm check, and I'm gonna let you both roll with a +1.
Wait, Laz, don't you have like a thing?
Yeah,
like
cool under
ability
pressure
for
dealing with
adults?
I have
this is rebellious, right?
Both of you
that's
have
a
rebellious,
flaw.
actually. So yeah, you can use your rebellious,
Yeah.
which gives you a
It's a
+3, I believe.
This is an 11.
Is that in addition to the bonus that you were also giving?
Yes.
Oh, good. I rolled a 1.
Oh boy.
On my D4 though, so that's a total of 3 and 4. You said, so 8 total.
Wait, what?
You
So
said
you got a
+4
+1.
and then-
You get a +3 from
+1.
your rebellious, which is a total of +4.
So +4 total 5 then.
Okay.
I have an 11.
Sheriff Pratt is looking at you, Billy. And you see he kind of shifts his position just a little bit when you say that you could offer proof. And then he looks at Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp, maybe... It sounds like maybe it would be a good idea if we did take this down to the sheriff's department and had a conversation. There seems to be... And he gets cut off as you all hear and feel a tremendous rumbling sound. And the ground begins to quake beneath your feet. You hear the crowd immediately in confusion. What's happening? What's happening? And from your vantage point, you can see the wreck perfectly well. As the sheriff, you see Mr. Sharp kind of staggering like this. You're all struggling to stay on your feet. That's how much everything is shaking. And you all see as the wreck of the helicopter begins to fold in on itself, still smoldering, and begins to sink into the sand.
Optimus Prime.
Not transforming.
Sorry.
More like something big like this over a smaller hole being pulled down into, and it's folding in half and is sinking into the sand. And after a moment, the helicopter crash has completely sunken into the beach, and there is an enormous crater where the helicopter was. And the sheriff kind of gets control as the ground stops shaking. He takes his hat off. Son of a bitch. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Amazing.
All right.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a about a 10-minute break, and we'll be back after these messages. There's no messages. Just stick around. We'll have more game in a few minutes. And we're back. So there's just been a small earthquake, and the wreckage of the helicopter has folded in on itself and sunk into a pit in the sand. The sheriff and even Sharp, as well as some of the deputies, are moving away from you, trying to get a closer look at what has just happened. What are you all doing now that this has happened and with this immediate distraction?
Coop looks at Rosie and says, "Can we go?"
Yeah, absolutely. And Rosie scoops up her backpack and yeah, I want to run. Where are our bikes?
I don't remember where you left them. Did you take them
By
down
the lighthouse.
Oh yeah, I think you did put them by the lighthouse. So yeah, they would just be around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So how is Sharp and the sheriff reacting to this moment? Because the last thing that was said, was Sheriff to Sharp of, oh, maybe we should take this down to down to the station
That
house.
was before the mysterious sinkhole swallowed the helicopter. They're walking towards the sinkhole, and they're moving away from you, and you see the sheriff is kind of trying to, almost like he's holding Sharp back, who seems to be trying to get closer. And, the sheriff's got his arms out to the side. For Harwell, of course, has his gun drawn, and at his side as he's moving towards this hole. They are not paying any attention to you, and they are a good 30-40 feet away from you at this point.
All right,
let's get out of here.
It looks like the crew wants to make a run for it. Can I bump into Sharp and see if I can pickpocket him?
You would have to move 30 or 40 feet towards him into the open across the sand.
Yep.
Like, there's nobody else around them.
Sure.
So you're just going to run at him and try to pickpocket him?
Like, run like I'm trying to get away, but, like, bump into him and, like, he didn't say he was, like, wearing jeans, so, like,
No, he's wearing a suit.
Right. So I mean,
I'm just clarifying because you are going to be basically running into the open with 3 cops and this scientist are the only people
Away
there.
Is going to be in the opposite direction.
And you're going to be running toward the crash site.
Feel free to.
That's the opposite way of the bikes.
It's
that's the beach where you guys came from.
Okay. All right. Never mind then.
I didn't want to stop you from doing it if that's what you really wanted to do, but I wanted to make sure you understood the logistics of. What this is.
I thought based on where my headspace is, like, all right, well, we need to get off the beach, which would be that way, which is the same direction as things were going. But all right, no worries.
Just for clarification, I brought the map up.
The map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
Where the lighthouse is on that red X on the beach, the parking lot is immediately behind it. The wreckage is what would be down about 150 feet away from the lighthouse. Down on the map, so towards the south. That's where you guys were kind of on the beach in between those two areas. And to get away, you're having to move to the right rather than down on the map. Okay. If that makes sense a little bit more.
Sure. In my head canon, I was having to go past him anyway. I'm not looking to be
opposite direction.
Blatant about it.
Nope. Okay, we're all on the same page there. So you guys are making a run for it, grabbing your bikes. And there's enough commotion, and the crowd is half of the crowd's moving towards what's going on, and half the crowd is like dispersing. So there's plenty of commotion for you to slip into the crowd.
Blend in with the crowd like Assassin's Creed.
Yep. Where are you all going?
We can't, guys. We gotta go talk to the Seven, right?
They're
go
really
home.
nearby.
Yeah, we can't go home. They'll be looking for us there.
We can park our bikes in back.
Right? Guys?
All right. Yeah. I guess so.
Billy?
I
Anything?
don't know if the Seven's going to be able to do anything at this point in time. But if we're looking to get away, do we want to go check out this meteorite down by barn?
I mean,
We could do that before we go home.
Maybe we just stop by and at least tell the Seven what's going on, and then we can go check out the barn.
Maybe they can help James. They're
Is it
witches.
Weird. Is it weird that none of the other people noticed?
Yeah, but it's again, it's a bullet point on a really long list.
Sure. All right, well, it
So-
sounds like majority goes to the Seven, so let's go there first.
So you're heading downtown, which is not very far away at all. And I think I heard you say you wanted to
Jeremy's
go.
singing the song.
You wanted to go around back to the back entrance. So you
Yeah.
go down through that alley between Betty and Jude's Crafts and Hobbies and Paige's Bookstore, and you pull up in that space behind there, and there's the green door at the back of Paige's.
At the
Who's?
time. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
At the time, Rosie had made a mental note. I said it out loud during the episode of the turning of the doorknob, which was like a special code that opened the door. Like she turned it right, then left, then right again, all the way, or
Isn't
something
that the
like that.
key?
I thought it was just the knob.
Oh, I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I do remember you making note of that.
So I didn't think there was a key. I just thought it was the knob turned weird. So Rosie would try that immediately. She wouldn't knock.
So you turn the knob the way you remember, left, then right, then all the way.
Mm-hmm.
As you do that, you feel a slight vibration in the door handle and almost like a very low voltage electric jolt. Not enough to shock you, just almost like a hand buzzer, like a joy buzzer.
Oh, okay.
So it's less of a shock and more of a
like a buzz.
yeah.
Like a vibrating cell phone that I don't know what it is. Okay.
Yeah. And so you do that, and then you turn the knob, and instead of seeing the back room of Paige's, you see stairs leading down.
Okay. So we would go down in there, and there's some furniture and stuff in here, right?
There was a bunch of mismatched sofas
Bunch of odds and ends, mismatched furniture.
Yeah.
things
Yep.
like that,
I think we should.
And a circle on the floor, right?
Yes.
There was
Summoning circle.
yeah.
Well, there was-
for the Pokemon we're about to.
yeah. The summoning circle. The summoning circle only showed up when Templeton was showing his stuff, and
Okay.
he caused the lights to short out, and when the lights dimmed out, that's when the circle appeared. At the bottom of the stairs, all you see is darkness because the power's still out.
All right. Okay.
So you head down the stairs into a darkened basement.
Billy has a flashlight. Thank you, Boy Scout.
Oh,
Flashlight.
very
We both- we
good.
both do.
You turn on your flashlight. And as you head into this room, you're shining your flashlight around, and it's an empty room. I mean, sorry, let me rephrase. It's not an empty room. There's no people in it. The room is as you remember it. But it's a darkened basement. You see the chairs, you see the couch. You see on the shelves in the back where all the board games and stuff were. But there's nobody down here.
As soon as we get in and the door is shut, I want to turn to Billy, and Rosie would kind of be like, "What the fuck, Billy? Did you know him?"
That was the asshole that tied me down, tortured me, and had the audacity to say, "We own you."
Jesus Christ.
The prick in the suit?
Yeah.
So he's... Yeah. Okay.
And you thought that while you were standing there with all of us was a good time to say, "Go fuck yourself, old man."
He is going to come after us anyway. The best time to confront him was when he's standing next to law enforcement.
We can never go home now. They know that we live in Twilight Grove. They said so. We can't fucking go home now. Where do we go?
They know we're here. They've known we've been here.
They snatched up Billy and Jessica out of thin air.
They're not gonna. Well,
And
like,
Billy,
you
I'm
can
sorry. Billy,
you
I'm
can see
sorry.
like Oak's panicking too because Rosie's panicking. But he's like trying to piece together things. He's like, hold on, wait a minute. We got into their building, y'all. We got into their building. We saw what they didn't want us to see. Okay, so they're not gonna come after us. I mean, they might, but they're not gonna do it out in the open. It's not like a cop is gonna come up to our house, knock on the door, and say, "Hey, I'm here to take you." They're not gonna do that, okay?
They're just gonna snatch us quietly. They're gonna pull up in a black van and take us like that one episode of the A-Team.
like too much Dateline for a 12-year-old.
It's you're. Just why it's important we stick together. Billy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right. I'm hot-headed and rash, but I don't want to give bullies power, and it's exactly what he's doing.
And there's me calling the kettle black. I'm sorry.
You're not out of turn. You're right to question. I should have checked in with you guys, but from the moment I laid eyes on him, I thought this was the best time to put it out there. To be like, steal some of his thunder, steal some of his power.
And
the problem is that...
Yeah, go ahead, Les.
Right now, he's the asshole that the teacher thinks is the good guy, you know? We gotta make sure that he fucks up bad enough first in front of the teacher, then we get to kick his ass.
Which is why all I did was use words instead of trying to kick his ass right then and there.
And he couldn't fucking touch you. He couldn't touch you in front of the sheriff because they're not on the up and up.
Then he pretended like he didn't know you.
Well, if they do anything to us or try to do anything to us, it's going to be in secret, so we should stick together.
Sure.
What do we do now?
I mean,
I don't
I'm
know.
all for
Where
looking
are the
for them.
sisters?
we could play slumber party if you guys wanna do a round robin at Grandma's house.
I was actually gonna say the same thing. I think maybe we get some stuff together, a few days of clothes, sleeping bags or whatever, and we need a base.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. And you see that like Oak has now taken to. He's like looking around the area with the with his flashlight, and he's. Jake, is there essentially like, would there be any sort of like paper or note-taking stuff? Like, he obviously has his own stuff, but we were on the run, we were on the move. Maybe he's just like looking for something to take notes.
The back of the boggle pad.
This basement.
A Yahtzee.
This basement 100% has looking around. It doesn't take you long. Looking on the shelves, you would find probably like a couple of notebooks. There's a mug with a broken handle that looks like an owl, and it's got a bunch of pencils and pens jammed into it. There's a legal pad sitting next to it with like it looks like somebody. Not mirroring this on my own poor habit over the years. It looks like somebody has grabbed a legal pad, used a few sheets of it, and then it got left behind. And they did that multiple times. So there's several partial legal pads stacked up next to this owl mug.
This is Oak's aesthetic anyways. Like the spread out legal pad nonsense is great. So he'll grab that and he'll write in there just like feverishly, because like he doesn't think that they should stay here too long either, right? We can't stay at the 7th base too long. We can't stay at our base. You know, we have to find a base. But like, he begins to write a little note. Came to check on you. You weren't here. We need your help. Meet us when you can. And then
Rosie looks. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I think at the bottom of the note, he'll just write in quotations, "the kids," not leave our names, but just the kids, right?
Rosie looks over at Coop and says, "Coop, you don't have to raise your hand. We're not fucking in school."
I thought of some place where there aren't people, and people might not come looking for us.
That's great.
That sounds
Where?
perfect. Yeah.
The part, that area that's still under construction. Those places nobody lives there yet, right?
Right. And that area is big. Really big.
Okay, yeah. What do I put? What do I say?
The neighborhood without houses.
Okay, yeah. Like, or street with no name or whatever, like, you know, like that kind of nonsense. Like, I think
Hashtag
that
Bono.
would be cool. Yeah.
Can't beat him.
Yeah, he'll write something like cryptic in that and leave it for the 7 to see in their base. But after a moment of kind of like realizing that there's probably not a way to like intercom them into the room, like
Excuse me.
Hi, checking in. We would like to speak to the 7. Hi. No one? Okay, cool.
The kids party of 5.
The kids are here. We would like to speak to some adults, please. No, I think at that point he would look to the older kids and be like, okay, well, what do we do now?
Well, what if we wait here until dark? And it's going to be dark. Dark. And then we go out to the construction site, I guess. Coop, that was a good idea.
Thanks, but if it's dark, how are we gonna see?
I thumb over at Billy and his flashlight.
I just imagine 2 flashlights pointing right at Coop.
Yeah. It's like, my eyes!
So while everybody else is discussing things, and Oak is jotting feverishly, Billy just like puts the flashlight down, and like a like almost like a caged animal, he's like trying to pace off the nervous energy that has just got him so riled up. Like even the bike ride over here just barely began to gnaw away at it. But he's trying to get himself under control.
Billy, I would like you to roll a grit check, please.
Wolf out in this basement.
That would be an 18, sir.
Oh, so gritty. Attaboy.
Okay. You are able to, by pacing, you are able to keep that tension, that anxiety, that frustration tempered just below the surface.
I'd like to look
after
around back here while Billy's doing that, just to see if there's anything useful that we could take for our little camping trip. Battery powered lanterns, anything like that. Sorry. Ted, go ahead.
While
No,
I want you to go ahead and I'll have you roll a D100. While Billy, I believe you were going to say something more.
I was gonna after my my cooling off period, but this is apparently happening while I'm pacing. So
It's all
by all means.
Timey-wimey.
17%.
17. Looking around the basement, this basement has old board game, or not old board games, just board. I mean, there are some old board games you probably don't recognize from the 60s. There's at least 6 Yahtzee sets. Not one of them has all of the components. There's Candyland and Chutes and Ladders. There's an Uncle Wiggly. There's Monopoly and the Game of Life and all that kind of stuff. You're definitely seeing a lot of board games. You see puzzles. A lot of knickknacks, that kind of stuff. You don't see anything in this basement that would be useful on a camping trip. Anybody else while Billy's pacing and Laz is searching?
Rosie's doing
Coop, roll a D100.
Okay. 22.
I rolled a 34. You do find a set of jacks.
Hey.
With what is it? Is the ball that comes with it, the little rubber ball, all crusty?
It's not all crusty, but it has
Oh.
tiny little puncture marks from what looks like cat teeth. And it's missing a chunk. One of the cats definitely got, one or more of the cats definitely got a hold of this. But there's a handful of jacks there.
I found these. They're spiny.
Rosie, I think you started to say something.
I was doing tricep dips. I am also burning off nervous
Oh.
energy. And then I imagine I just kind of sit and chill.
Rosie, I want you to roll a grit check.
Nat 20, bitch! So I explode.
That explodes.
Plus 11 is a 31 grit.
Physical
Prettiest
exercise
grit ever.
is Rosie's zen. I'm going to say that just because you knocked that one out of the park, going forward, I'll say it this way. The next time you have to make a note of this on your sheet, because I won't remember this. The next time I have you make a grit check, particularly if it's related to you being stressed, you can have a +3 to that roll.
Ooh. Nice. Got it. Thank
All
you.
right, so Oak, what are you doing?
Oak. After writing the note, I think Oak is like, yeah, okay. Are we in the hobby shop pretty much? We're in the.
You're in the basement of the bookstore.
The basement of the bookstore. Okay. I think Oak is trying to figure out a way. So I think Oak has kind of made this mindset of trying to figure out how these doors work, right? Trying to figure out how the doors work, how the lighthouse works, things like that, things he can't explain. How does it work? I want to figure it out, because if I can control it, I can manage it. So he's like looking at the map that potentially we have and saying, okay, we're going to be at the new construction site. What areas around there, if we had to use like trying to figure out escape plans, because if the new construction area gets compromised, I want to have a backup plan in place. I want to have something like, I want to have a get out of jail free card if for some reason they come find us.
So here's what you know about the new construction.
Okay.
The new construction is in, if we look at the 8 quadrants of this map, and we number them 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top, 5, 6, 7, 8 across the bottom. New construction is in quadrant 7. To the right of it in quadrant 8 is Twilight Grove, senior living community. To the left of it in quadrant 6 is where the Peaceful Waters Church is, that cemetery that you came across. There's some houses and neighborhood stuff. Directly north in quadrant 3, like literally on the other side of the road, on the other side of the new construction, is Paradise Orchard's processing plant.
Also fish and chips.
Yeah, there's some restaurants along that way. To the south, heads out of town. M22 kind of curves around and heads south out of town. Quadrant 4, where the circled question mark that says "stay out" is where the barn is, and in that vicinity of where you saw the meteorite crash. Is there anything? What exactly are you trying to do?
So Oak is trying to set up an escape plan, because the idea is that if Sharp knows about us, if all of this stuff is going down, if everything's happening all at once, and he kind of wants to just get some semblance of peace. Like, he had a moment of it. He felt a moment of peace, and then immediately was ripped away like a bandit. And so he's like, I want that again, and I'll do anything I can to get it. So he's like looking at the map, finding the best spot that they possibly could hide out in. And if that means the Stapler house, great. If that means we got to go toward the meteorite, awesome. But like whatever draws him in that direction, he wants to like figure out how to like triangulate the best possible exit plans for that too.
Make me a brains check.
Indeed, good sir. Let's see. Alrighty. Well, that's not good at all. That is the first nat 1 that I've rolled on this die since we started. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time for Oak to roll on the domain of the table.
Oh,
on the big table.
There we go.
Okay.
Do it.
Carrie calling out a
As a
D100 mystery grab bag roll for 5 domain pops. Let me find our...
That's perfect, actually.
While you roll that,
I am not trying to sabotage you. You're going to get green, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Hopefully.
Let's get green. 1.
No, that's completely opposite direction. Ruh-roh, Reggie.
Raggy.
That's a 95.
Did you say 95?
That's a 95, my dude.
I'm so sorry. I
Wow.
honest to God, did not want
It's
this
okay.
to go badly for you.
It's okay.
It'll be
Okay,
fine.
Love the fucking tragedy anyway. You love it.
While it's bad, it's not as bad as it could be, but it is a permanent effect.
That's the second. That's the second
For
this guy.
Oak at 95, and let me make sure I highlight this to show that we've used this one. The effect that you have rolled is called Untrained.
I actually already rolled that. I'm pretty sure we rolled that.
Oh yeah, when we were on the train.
Nope.
When we were on the train. We were on the train.
And what happened to you?
I got thrown against the train wall, and I had a -1 to my flight check permanent.
To fight.
To my fight check. Yes,
Oh,
so my
you're right,
-1 to my
because
fight
that's
check.
one I forgot to mark then. So then
Roll again.
you can, I will let you choose to either roll again, or I can go with 94 or 96 randomly.
Let's just roll again. Let's hope we
Yeah,
roll again.
let's
And if I
do
get,
it.
let's
Let's
roll again.
do it.
Okay, it's like Bob
Okay.
Barker. If you get
Yep.
an opportunity to go for that,
I do remember now, because I remember
let's
I
go again.
remember making some kind of dumb joke about it being
You all laughed
untrained while
about
you
it
were
being
on the train.
untrained. Yeah.
Not a great start, guys. Yeah, reroll 89, so we moved up a little bit, but
Jesus
not by much.
Christ, Chad, get rid of those dice.
They're my metal dice. They are
Oh.
my
You can't get rid of that.
they're my green door dice.
Oh.
So even though it's slightly lower,
Uh-huh. Oh jeez.
this is not good for
Oh
you.
good. Yay. Let's
So-
just burn
He's
burn me down.
delighted. Look at him. Like
I
a kid at Christmas.
So I'm not even going to tell you what it's called yet, because that might give it away. I'm going to need a little bit of time within the next 12 minutes to figure out how this is going to start to come into play. So we've gone around. Coop, besides finding the jacks, that was just me making you roll from something you said in chat. What are you doing? And I will say, Oak, there's so many factors that are stressing you out. You're finding it difficult to stay focused on task. It's what's preventing you
That's perfect.
from
Yeah,
really
it's
being able to. You're good at strategizing and analyzing stuff, and for some reason you can't figure this out. Something is getting in your own way.
Yep.
Coop, what are you doing?
Coop is what is it? Coop had gone over and has been spending all this time, most of this time, kind of sprawled out on the futon. And what is it? And now he's looking at his shoe. He's checking the pocket of his roo to see if he still has a 20 spot in the pocket for emergencies.
For emergencies.
And he's contemplating, since it's right around the corner from where they are right now, he's contemplating picking up fish and chips for everybody for the camp out.
Oh my god.
I have to admit, I don't get the Roo reference.
Roos were shoes that they're sneakers that had like a hidden pocket.
Have you ever seen Ked? You've heard of Keds before.
I know
right?
Keds, yeah.
Yeah, so roos were kind of like that, but they had a hidden pocket in the.
They're called roos because kangaroos, because of the pouch.
That's a new one for me.
Roos.
Funny. Roos, yeah, Roo shoes.
So you're thinking about going outside around the corner to the fish and chips place.
Getting some takeout.
I'll go with Coop.
Well,
where are you going?
To be clear, the fish and chips is quite a ways away from where you're at right now, because you aren't at the new neighborhood yet.
No, we're still at the bookstore, right?
Yeah, you're at the bookstore. The pizza place
right
is.
It's right at the
Right.
what is it? It's shipwreck on the map, so it's right at the intersection that we're near.
Hold on a second. Where'd my freaking map go?
I don't
You
know.
questioning the chronicler, Jake?
Yeah,
Yes,
no.
I am.
I just remember it was cute because shipwrecks in the middle of the land, and it's because
Well, okay,
that's the sunken galley.
Yeah, it is like 4 blocks away across M22. It's not just around the corner. It's not that far away. I mean, this town isn't that big.
We kind of need to go, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh.
So are you going by yourself, or are you waiting until you're all heading out that way?
I'm waiting till we head out that way, and then Coop will pitch it.
So
If he's got money in his brew.
How likely is it that Coop would forget that he had money in his brew?
Oh, I have no idea. Like, Coop's a forgetful kid, but it's also emergency money. So he doesn't just
the back
use
of
that
his
frivolously.
Okay, roll me a d6.
Okay. That's a 2.
So that is what I did is so that there is overall that there's a chance. Split the d6 into 3, so there is a 30% chance that you've spent or lost that 20. Roll a d100.
Oh, God.
If you land within 30
Here we go.
of the number I rolled, there's nothing in there.
5.
I rolled a 2.
My God!
You're in this case, you didn't want to roll where I was, because you open up your rue pocket and there's a Kennedy $50 in there.
Oh, no.
Or as Corey Feldman in Goonies would say, Martin Sheen.
I must imagine like Coop's got an IOU note that he wrote himself, like in there.
Yes.
There's a receipt for something in there. There's a receipt in there.
Replace money. Oh, no.
And it's dated, but the last 2 numbers of the year are smudged because he's been in the water with it.
This is like 4/16, 1980.
80 like smudged.
1980 something. And I want to come back to Billy because I think you were wanting to do something once you cooled up your jets.
Yeah, so I was just going to, say out to the crowd, or to the group. All right, if we're looking to head out there and out into this unfinished complex, I don't know what's out there. Pretty sure my grandparents have some of my old camping gear here we might be able to use. We gotta, I don't know if we're sneaking out, I don't know if we're just saying, oh, I'm gonna stay at so and so's and everybody give another line. We gotta figure it out, and we gotta be aware, we gotta be paying attention.
You gotta stay together above like everything else. It's a lot easier for him to scoop one of us into a van than all of us at the same time, huh? And Rosie would kind of like jokingly like punch Coop.
Can I get everybody to roll me a brains check, please?
Huh? 4.
This is not a pass or fail. I just want to see who gets the highest number.
15.
7.
Billy's so smart.
And got a 12. Okay, so here's what's happening is you all are planning to head over to Billy's grandparents, try to grab some camping gear, or however you're going to do this. You're planning to leave. You've been here long enough. You know that it is evening. We had a 15 for Billy, a 12 for Oak. Who had the next highest number?
7.
I had a 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Laz. Laz, I'm going to start with you. Laz, as you all have been sitting around here and trying to figure out your plans and just spending a lot of time here, you keep looking at the glow of your friends and the flashlight, and it dawns on you. If everything, including cars, stopped working, how have your flashlights been working? Oak, as you have been poring over this map, and you've got, I imagine by this point you've got at least 1, 2, or 3 notebooks. There's several wadded up, crumpled pieces of paper with rejected plans. And I imagine, Oak, you're sort of like sprawled on the floor with this stuff around you and scribbling, and you've got the flashlight up here. And the whole time you've been doing this, you keep just every once in a while you reach up to your left arm, kind of on your bicep, and you kind of scratch. And the longer you've been doing this, you keep scratching at something on your arm, like a rash or something, like an insect bite. It's starting to get pretty irritating. And it's after a little bit that you kind of scratch really wild at this, and you go down to pick up your pencil, and your fingertips have green residue on them. It almost looks like, in the light, it almost looks like something we used to do as kids. I don't remember what the dumb thing we said when we did this, but we would take a dandelion and we would rub it on somebody's arm or their face or something that would leave that sort of yellow mark. Or in the same way that the green of like chlorophyll or something, if you rubbed, it looks like plant matter.
What?
And as you look at where it's on your finger in the flashlight, you see it move just like 1/8 of an inch down your finger, like it spreads a little bit. At that same time, Billy, in the far corner of the room, you hear a thump, and a board game falls off the shelf. And shining your flashlight over there, you see this section of shelf in the corner that has puzzles and board games and stuff on it. The basement had been described as having like old school wood paneling. And if we all remember, paneling has those little joiner things between the panels. In that corner, there's now a slight shift, and you can see a gap where it looks like a false wall or secret door is slightly ajar where you heard that thump.
Secret tunnel.
You're muted, Ted.
Sorry, I muted myself to laugh at the internal chat. We absolutely have to go check out that secret tunnel.
Yeah.
Secret tunnel.
Rosie hasn't noticed it yet.
Oh, I mean, I shine the flashlight and begin moving in that direction.
Yeah, anybody that looks at where Billy's suddenly shining his flashlight would see that. Billy, as you're starting to walk towards it, Oak, you're reaching again to where this itch is and kind of lifting up your sleeve and looking. You see this whole section of your bicep looks like moss. And you can see where you were scratching at it. And as you look at it, it seems to slightly spread. At the same moment, this door that you're moving towards pushes open slightly. And in your flashlight, you see what looks like a middle-aged man wearing glasses. He's got a short trimmed beard. He's wearing a short sleeve checkered shirt, brown corduroy pants. Jessica was the only one that saw him, but we, the audience, have seen this. Actually, no, I take that back. You all did see him. You would recognize him as the man who pointed you down the hallway that how to get out of the processing plant. That led he was the scientist that was showing you the way down there. And he stumbles out of this little secret area, and he's looking at all of you and looking into the light. He says, I don't feel so good. And you see him he almost seems to flicker. At the same time, Oak, you also don't feel very well as this green stuff seems to slightly spread. You rolled number 89 on the roll table, which is titled The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill.
What the fuck?
That is a reference to one of the stories in Stephen King's Creepshow. This moss is starting to spread across your fingers and your arm, and looking at it, right now you're the only one that's seen it. You suspect that if you don't figure this out or get some kind of treatment, you maybe have 1 or 2 days before this infection spreads across your entire body. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
you fucker.
Oh no.
First to whoever put that on the list.
That was me. That was one of mine. I will take full credit for that.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh no. I love it how Chad got done saying like Oak is very special to me. I love this character. It's very
I think it's time
I
put them in a pot, plant them.
So we now have a situation where so far only Oak knows that they've somehow contracted some kind of fungal disease. And you guys have been in this room for a few hours.
Okay.
And this mysterious man who you all last saw at the labs has just stumbled out of a secret room through a secret door in the basement of the Seven, a place that is supposed to be a safe place. So we'll see what that all means and how that all comes to a head next week for our 21st session of Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. I'm sorry, I'm also trying to make some adjustments. We've had an influx of domain pops for you all.
Yay!
Thank you to everybody who joins and contributes to all that.
Welcome, nerds.
So yes. A lot just happened. I think a lot more happened in the last 30 minutes than in the first 90 minutes of this game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think Tamiko's advice in our side chat. If you want to stay spoiler free, if you've not seen Creepshow or either the comic, because it was presented as a comic book, or the movie from the 80s, do not watch The Lonesome Death of Jody Verrill. That is the title of the story. Yeah, but Oak, I just want to clarify this. Looking at this fungus, you know you have at maximum 48 hours.
There were a lot of plot hooks pulling us a lot of different directions on that one, and now I think there's one main one.
I'm just gonna sit.
At all
I'm
costs.
just gonna sit in this.
Yeah.
For the next week.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we know, Chad,
Yeah.
is that when it comes to this game, You are nothing if not patient, and you can perfectly wait each week for these games to happen.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
For those of you watching at home, pretty much within an hour after this game, Chad is already talking about how much he can't wait for next week.
Exactly. Yeah.
To be fair, that's all of us.
Yeah, I've been a hype man since day one, and now I'm like, existential dread begins to set in.
So
I'm glad you liked playing Oak.
I did. He will die.
So
no, he will not. If I have anything to do with it, he will not.
Just because the name of the thing on the chart is the Lonesome Death, you could become Swamp Thing. You could be Plant Man. You could have all kinds of cool plant powers.
The
a
Green
non-lonesome death.
Yeah, a non-lonesome death.
We'll be there
so in 48 hours, I need to find my soulmate. That's what happens.
Stay with me.
He goes through immense puberty very, very quickly. It is like I have 48 hours to figure things out. Just figure out what I want to do with my life in 48 hours.
All right. Well, this will be interesting to see, and I will tell you so you guys can mentally prepare for this. In this situation, we will be picking up at this exact point in next week's episode. Sometimes we move time forward a little bit or whatever. I will tell you as you start thinking about this, we will pick up at this exact point. Huge thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch with us. Definitely check out my Twitter at MTD_Jake, or go check out Todd Stashwick's. Jeremy, can you put that link in there again? Thank you. You just did. Just a reminder, we have a big event coming up on September 30th. Todd Stashwick's Nerd Circus presents The Legends of Eleonora, The Light of the Child. This is a one-night, only 3-hour D&D charity one-shot benefiting the Pablo Foundation. Dungeon Master Todd Stashwick with players Matthew Lillard, Mika Burton, Tawny Newsom, and Jack Quaid, along with 2 open seats. If you follow that link in the chat, that'll take you to an auction site. These seats are currently going for around $2,250. And we're expecting them, as the auction ends in about a week, to shoot up even more. But this is for charity. Join us on that day. There will be giveaways, there will be donation incentives, and you're going to see some amazing people playing an awesome game of Dungeons and Dragons in Todd Stashwick's new homebrew world that he's building out, Eleonora. Which I will tell you, and Todd will tell us on that day, this is in honor of somebody who, a young teenage girl named Eleonora, who lost her battle with cancer. So we're turning this into something good, and we're looking at the positive side of this. Very excited to be able to produce this event and present this to all of you. So mark your calendars, 8 p.m. Eastern on September 30th. That is a Saturday. Again, huge thank you to everybody who tuned in. If you are somebody watching with us silently in the chat or watching on VOD later, we appreciate you and hope you enjoy this as well. Shout out to formerly known as Emily for the raid, and Carrie, Tamiko, Hadrian X for subs, bits, all that good stuff. Always appreciate the channel support. But most importantly, well, before I say this, we're going to do a raid. We got raided. I want to return the favor. We're going to raid Evandale. I believe they're playing D&D. They've got 10 viewers right now. So we're going to send all of you over there as we head out. So stick around for that raid. But I want to say a final and tremendous thank you to these amazing players who make this game awesome each week. Thank you, Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and though they weren't with us tonight, they were with us in spirit, M, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.